So hi everybody, welcome to the first live meeting of the Association of First Aid Trainers in Ireland. My name is Peter Carroll. I will introduce you to the rest of the committee as we go along, and we're all going to give you a little bit about who we are and our background. Mine will be healthcare. I've been an EMT since 1993. Worked for a long time with the ambulance service, both here in Ireland and abroad, and I was always involved in training. And so that's what I do for a living now. I work for Safety Ireland. I'm an instructor with them. And this whole association was created out of an individual who brought to my attention about the first aid response certificate and in relation to the cost that was going to go from €2 what the RIs pay up to possibly €25. So my reaction to that was contact VEC. So I sent an email. I got a response to that email, but it wasn't satisfactory. And then you guys will remember I put the poll up to see, the question I think I asked was who would be prepared to go on strike. And I think 62 people said they would. Now, nobody was going to go on strike. That wasn't the issue. But I wanted to see how serious people were about it and get some feedback that way. And from there, then, the email went out, over 40 emails went out to both Richard Lodge from VEC and Simon Harris in the HSE. And a lot of you guys are now receiving emails today in response to that email that we sent. Most of the lads here in the committee have already got an email. There's a reply email rather from Richard Lodge. We haven't heard anything from the HSE as yet, but I've had some response through my own TD. We'll talk about that later on. So then, with all that happening, I was talking to a few of the committee members, and we decided to set up the association. We launched it on the 21st of July. And we're here. We have a committee formed, and I'm going to introduce you to each of the committee members now, and they'll tell you a little bit about themselves. So, Marion, if you would like to come on in there and introduce yourself.
Thanks, PJ. My name is Marion Morrissey. I'm based in Limerick. I have a training company called Safe Training. I'm in operation in business for the last 15 years. My own background is nursing, qualified with the last 2 years. And I've seen a lot of changes in the first aid industry since I started 15 years ago, and it's starting to become more difficult all the time, and we seem to have lost off a lot of the basics, and that's one of the main reasons that we have joined the association.
That's great, thanks Marion. Next is Mike. Want to come on in there, Mike?
Yeah, certainly. My name's, he said Michael, but I prefer Mick Green. My background is UK Fire Service. I was 25 years in the West Midland Fire Service over in Birmingham, and I also was an instructor for London Fire Brigade, and at which time I was in training firefighters in advanced first aid techniques. I live down in Kerry now, and for the last 8-9 years I've been amongst other things, doing first aid training under the old BOFA scheme, and now with the FAR. I'm getting to an age where I do very little now, but I am interested in this association, and I do agree there are certain issues that need to be tackled, and that's why I joined.
So we're going to bring Niamh. Niamh, you want to come on board here?
Yep. Good evening all, and thanks PJ. Niamh Gaffney is my name. I'm training for the last 8 years. I'm an EMT as well. I have a small company, and I think what I would like to bring to the table is representation for the small first aid trainer. And in the short time that I'm doing this, I've come across a number of issues that I found it hard to get resolved as an individual. So that's what I hope to bring to the table is representation for the small individual sole trader such as myself. Thanks, Peter.
Well done, Niamh. And Gary?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Gary McSweeney, and I'm from Limerick. I'm teaching first aid for 25 years, along with other statutory courses. Again, like my colleagues, my interest is solely for first aiders in promoting the fact that first aiders did not have a great voice. Very welcome to get the letter today from Richard Lodge, which is great. So I'm here to progress and to help for first aiders. So that's my bit. Good luck.
Okay, thanks, Gary. The other members, James Butler, James is having a power cut for where he's staying. So we've already got an apology from James that he won't be able to come online with us tonight. He's having some issues there. But James Butler, he one of the owners of Safety Ireland that I work. And James also played a part. It was actually James brought to my attention initially about the increase in the certificates. And he's been helpful on a few other issues regarding contacting people in FEC and trying to get answers to questions. So hopefully James will join us on the next meeting. And Aidan, you'll see Aidan in the background there. Aidan is IT. He's having a few problems with sound, so he'll be waving away, letting us know that he can hear and he knows what's going on, and he'll keep a track of, I suppose, the IT end of things. We're going to start with an agenda, just to touch on some of the things, bring people up to speed on what's been going on in the association or what we've been trying to do. And once we've dealt with these issues, we are allowing time then for anybody who's listening in. If you've got a question, you can send in the question, and Aidan will manage those for us and let us know. And we'll try and deal with as many questions as we can following this sort of official meeting. So I'm going to open it with our agenda, with the whole reason again behind all of this was the first aid response certificate cost. A lot of you got that email today from Richard Lodge, and he was discussing the different prices and where he's getting his pricing from and such, and whether we're comparing like with like. But I sort of wanted to simplify it down from an end user perspective. We can argue about the percentages and about how much an RI is paying in comparison to a first aid response instructor. But the bottom line is the cost of a 3-day first aid response course is probably going to go up somewhere between 200 and 300 euro. That'll go to your customer. So every single person who is affiliated to this association, all the members, we're all trying to sing from the same hymn sheet here, because people sometimes think it's the RIs we're supporting, or we've got other agendas and such. We can't function without RIs, and the RIs can't function without first aid response trainers. And if the customer gets hit if this cost comes in, and it's a continuous cost, it's every 2 years. It's not like the old QQI, which is a one-off, and it was printed and posted to you for your 30 euro, whatever you paid for it. This is going to be a hell of a headache going forward unless we do something about it. So that was the main reason why, as I pushed for this association. So to all the members out there, all the people listening in, any suggestions, any ideas you have going forward on how we can tackle this, following the email today, there's one little thing I would like to read out to you, which is was a very interesting piece at the end of the email from Richard Lodge. He said, I also note the recent formation of the Association of First Aid Trainers Ireland, and look forward to officially recognising and engaging with that organisation and acknowledging the potential role it has to play in helping to transform and unite that sector of the industry. So that is recognition from FEC that we exist. So the next thing we would like now is really to get a meeting with FEC and sit down with them and see what we can do about the cost of this certificate. So anybody that has any suggestions, please feel free to send them into the association. All ideas are welcome. And then as a committee, we can look at those and work out what's the best way of approaching that. I'm going to ask Marion to come in maybe and discuss the possibility of getting on the committee, on the FEC committee or council or a seat somewhere. I'll share some ideas on that, Marion.
Thanks, PJ. I suppose, again, just to reiterate what you said earlier on, I'm not an RI, and I'm going from a first aid trainer's point of view. So we're the people at the cold face, meeting the clients, meeting the customers, meeting the students, participants every day of the week. We know the problems that some of them face, and I think maybe not for FEC might understand some of those issues that learners have. So I think by one of us, an instructor that's meeting students every day of the week, have a seat at one of the council meeting, or to have a seat in FEC, just to bring the grassroots, really, the information to FEC of what's actually happening on the ground. Because up to now, that's not been happening. So, as I say, we're at the cold face. We're people that can represent, I think, the learners and the customers. And all as well that if any changes are coming down the line from FEC, that we might hear about them, bring them to our association, discuss them, rather than they've been put out there in minutes of meetings and only by chance maybe might see about it. But I suppose it's just to give us as trainers a little bit more insight and a little more control, I suppose, of what's happening going forward. And maybe control is the wrong word. Maybe a bit more knowledge and maybe to empower us a little bit more. And I would see it as a cooperation and a partnership that we'll be able to help them hopefully, and they will be able to help us. And the main thing is to any changes to see if they would be suitable for the industry, and we can bring our voice and they can bring their voice to us, and they bring the voice back to the association. My point of view, that's why I would like to have one of us would like to have a seat in the council. Do the other members have anything to add to that?
I think you'll do great, Marion. I think you'll be fabulous on the council.
Thanks, Gary.
I do. I think you'll be fabulous.
So, PJ, that's basically it, really. I think that's the nuts and bolts of it.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think anybody's going to disagree, Marion. That's exactly what we're looking for, and you put it very, very well. There was another issue that came up as some of the people on Facebook were discussing it, and we sort of done a bit of checking on this. Mick, you wanted to discuss it. It was a bit about instructor qualifications.
That's right. There was. I can only say that at the time being there was more of an implied desire to increase the level of qualification for instructors. Now, I don't know what to level, whether that's to a degree level, in which case are they looking for teaching qualifications, or is it going to be just paramedic based, something like that? But there was definitely an implication in that, and that's something that I will be looking into myself. But if anybody has any information or ideas on that, I'll be grateful if you can come back to me with that.
Okay, so again, the members of the association, if they have any more information, as you said, they may know a little bit more or heard something about what exactly do they mean by the instructor qualification, because there was a mention of QQI, and it was a level 6 up to 2012. So that I'm reading between the lines here. If they're talking to QQI again about instructor qualifications, are they talking about a level above 6 now? So yeah, so well done, Mick. If you follow that through, see what you can find out, and hopefully other members of the association can give us some input on that. Niamh, you wanted to have a chat about the...
I'm sorry, PJ, can I just very quickly... One thing just before that little bit goes, I would recommend to any of the members who are on and watching this at the moment is read the FEC meetings. There's a lot of information in the minutes from those meetings.
Yeah, it's a very valid point. Yeah, and they're available online. You can just, I found them by just simply typing in FEC minutes, and they'll come up. They'll bring you right through where they are. They come to the FEC council anyway. And,
sorry for it.
Yeah, no problem. So, Niamh, you wanted to have a little chat about the association members, the actual website itself, and the forum and the Facebook page. You want to have a chat about that?
Okay. So now that everybody has heard who we are, what we're about, and some of the initial points, how do you, the members, get your voice heard, and what can we do for you? Well, so we've set up the members page, and most of you at this point are aware of it. I think we have over 160 members signed up, which is absolutely fantastic. But we really do need all trainers to sign up to that, because going forward, it's a central point for contact. So let's say you, the trainer, the small sole trader like myself, have a problem, an issue within the industry. What do you do? Well, you contact us, and as an association, we can help you resolve the issue. So it's important to point out at this stage that this association is not set up as an army to attack anybody or to upturn anything. It's to help the members, the trainers. So if you have an issue, get onto the association page and we can help you sort it out. So what kind of issues can we help you with? Without going into any detail of previous issues that have popped up, let's say as a small trader, you have a problem with, a course or something, you contact us and we may be able to help you resolve it. Other issues we might be able to help with, let's say as a group, we hope to approach some of the large insurance companies and, get insurance sorted out as a group, things like that. So that's really all I want to point out, that it's to help you guys, the trainers, the people on the ground, and please contact the association on the Facebook page. If you haven't already signed up, please do so.
Thumbs up.
Also, can I just add in there, Niamh, as well, the fact that it's told there's no money changing hands anywhere, there's no membership fees. We're on the committee voluntary because we're passionate about our industry. So
Yeah.
it's nothing to do with financial gain for anybody, and none of us, as far as I know anyway, nobody has any hidden agendas.
No.
Now, the suggestion we're giving to this is our time. And it was one of the stipulations that when I was talking to people about this, I'd only be interested in being involved in this if it was a free association. And I think everybody else agreed on the same principle that, it's instructors trying to help instructors. It just so happens we also work for RIs, and, they're not all bad. A lot of good RIs out there, and, we should be able to support each other. And it shouldn't be worrying about hidden agendas, as you said, Marion. It's an association for people to try and get some information and help each other out, basically, and have a voice eventually, which we never had. Try and get a voice in this industry once and for all. I think we'd all agree with that anyway. All right. Yep. So I'm going to bring Gary in, because Gary had a few suggestions, and this has already happened to some of the members here. But Gary is going to take up a bit about contacting TDs or your councillors or something. You want to take that, Gary?
Yeah, we're hoping that people who are linking in tonight would agree to contact their local TDs, and initially we're looking about getting recognition, which we seem to be got today from FEC, but also the cost of these certificates are still going to be a big issue for us. So there's a template above that you can get onto the template, and then you can download and send that to your TD, ask him or her to forward our case for the costs of this. Is that okay?
Yeah, very good. And just on that, you're saying the forum is on the association webpage.
Yeah, it's on the webpage. Yes, yeah, and we need people to contact the TDs. Again, it's the more people who join, it's like what you said. We're first aiders for first aiders, but these costs are still a huge cost. We need to try and see, can we keep it as low as is reasonably possible, as they said. Okay.
Right. Very good. Well, two of the committee members have already met with a TD. That's Mick and Marion. You met up with Michael Healy-Rae. So, Marion, if I ask you, maybe you want to start, you can have a little chat with that, and Mick, you can put your penny's worth in.
Perfect. Mick and I met Michael Healy-Rae last Wednesday or Thursday in Tralee, and we outlined our queries, I suppose, to Michael Healy-Rae to see if he could do something for us on our behalf, which he did, and he took 3 parliamentary questions which were given to Mr. Simon Harris, but they won't happen until possibly the middle of September, until the Dáil is back from their summer holidays. So the 3 questions that are going to be put to Minister Harris are, again, price of the certs, the cost of the certs, and what this cost will actually mean on the ground to the basics like CE schemes, childcare workers, healthcare workers. At the end of the day, the cost is going to be passed on. And again, sometimes about the most vulnerable in society is going to be lobbied or cost with these costs. So Michael Healy-Rae took that question. Also as well about a seat in the council, and I've explained already why that is so important. And the other thing it would be the third question, improve the communication that FEC would have with RIs, and maybe also as well with the actual trainers on the ground. And this would be, I think, would build up a great relationship and would cement the relationship really between FEC and themselves, because really the association born out of lack of communication and lack of clarity and nobody really knowing what was happening. So hopefully we'll be able to bridge that gap. So there were the 3 questions. He was delighted to help us. There was another councillor there on the day as well, and he was bringing it to 3 county council members. And they got it really that from grassroots, and that this is where it needs to start rather than the other way around. So Mick, if you have anything you'd like to bring into that meeting, I think I have a lot of it covered there, but if you have anything you want to add in for me there.
No, I think you've covered everything. The one thing that I was really pleased with was the real interest he showed in the subject. It didn't seem to just be taking it in. He seemed very interested, as did the councillor, whose name, Sam, I forget his surname. I'm also going to be talking to Teresa Ferry shortly as well.
Sorry, so you've arranged a meeting with that person, yeah?
Yeah, well, I haven't arranged it, but I can drop in and see her anytime, so no issues.
Very good. My own contact, I contacted my own local TD here, Marcella Corcoran Kennedy, and I sent her an email. And the email I sent is similar to the one that Gary was talking about that's on the forum. And in fairness to her, I got a response more or less within 24 hours. And then I got a reply email today that has contacted Minister Harris. And he's said he'll look into it and he'll come back to her. So she'll keep me informed of that. So it's at least we know people are talking and people are listening and things are starting to happen. In fairness, I suppose the one thing that I would say FEC we're lacking, and probably will agree with me on it, is not having somebody directly from our industry that they can talk to about how their decisions affect the industry. Sometimes I feel that's the missing link. They're well and truly covered as far as paramedicine and advanced paramedicine and EMTs and all those other issues are well and truly covered. It's just one issue on first aid. You know, it seems to be, in my opinion, I know you agree or not, that to me is the missing link. If they, you know, they're to talk to us, we're out there doing it every day of the week. We know what's happening. We know how it affects ourselves, our companies, and how it affects the bottom line is the customer. So I think they're losing out by not having those open conversations. But again, Richard Lodge now has indicated through that email that it looks like they're willing to open up dialogue with us, and that's a positive. So it's not bad, guys. We'll be 3 weeks running this Sunday, so it's not a bad achievement for 2.5 weeks.
PJ, I think it's amazing. I think it's absolutely amazing what's been achieved so far. And I'd always say to you, to be what Marion, Neil, yourself, myself, the whole lot of committee about pre-hospital, pre-ambulance. That's where the first aiders come in, and that's where where the link is missing. And if we can get that, we could be a big help to FEC.
Of course we could. It doesn't have to be a war. It should be just open the lines of communication, and everybody can benefit from this.
Well, he said he was looking forward to it, and so are we. Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to discuss, guys? Are we all happy enough?
Are we going for a pint?
Yeah, I was wondering, Pete, when would you propose the next meeting, the next live meeting?
Oh, see, yeah.
Again, we'll talk to Aidan, because poor Aidan's had about 14 headaches, you know, and I think he's been feeling sick for the last couple of days trying to get this running. So we'll let Aidan decide when the next live one's coming up, and hopefully we can do something maybe next week or 2 weeks from now, even that we have a bit more information. So as we get information and get replies to emails and such, then get that information back out to the instructors out there. So we can use the forum. Use the Facebook, you know.
I think all well, Peter, just to mention that some instructors might not be actually on Facebook. So it would be important for everybody who is and to spread the word really about these meetings and tell them what's happening. If they don't have direct access to Facebook and that themselves.
I must admit, I know 4 instructors in this area that none are on Facebook, and I've explained.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you might have to drag them into the 21st century then, Mick.
I will. I'll have a word with them.
But it's, you know, I think this is important. These meetings are going to be important, especially so people can be involved. They can have their say. They can see that, you know, what we're trying to do. I suppose you could say we're all in learning mode. You know, this is new. It's only taken off. We can only improve on it. So with everybody's help. As I said, it doesn't have an owner; it has members. So as long as people remember that, you know, everybody should be willing to have a voice. They should be willing to listen and put their pennies worth in. It's the first time when you think about it that we've actually had some sort of a meeting where we can get our voice across, and now not only that, but get that opinion onto people who are dealing with our industry, like dealing with FEC and the minister and so on. Not the first time.
Did Aidan say that it could be accessed through YouTube?
Yes, but there was issues with that. So
All right.
You know, but it's we'll work on that. That's Aidan's baby. He'll work on that for us, you know. So we're gonna, if anybody else wants something to put in, we can start taking some questions if you want. I got a few here. Aidan sending me out a few questions.
Right as well. See what, if there's any out.
Yeah. So well, anybody, you're all getting the messages as well there. I'll start the one I see in front of me here. I'm sure she won't mind me mentioning her name. Madeline McGrath Hanlon. She made a point at EFR level, which is obviously a higher qualification than the first aid response. So she could be on the right track. I mean, if they're talking about the main position, talking about the instructor qualifications. I held an EFR instructor qualification when FAR took off, and I automatically became a FAR instructor. And this was before the FAR instructor program was rolled out. So, you know, again, I don't know. Maybe we might be able to get some information back again. Maybe in fact, might be able to clarify what's going on here. But where would that leave a lot of instructors who are at the moment holding the qualification of first aid response instructor, who are not at practitioner level and who are not at EFR level?
Well, can I just step in there? I think one of the things that, with regards to the qualification and call it whether it be Ireland, I think we have to look into and talk to FEC. They need to get an understanding of what first aid is, because currently I don't believe they know what first aid is. I think they still look at it as being somebody turning up with a crew and loads of equipment. So until they know what we're teaching, they can't really be looking at changing the level of which we teach.
Yeah, kind of agree with you. The terminology certainly indicates they're not speaking, you know, they're speaking a slightly different language, or you see that in some of the documentation and some of the course program. But as well, we don't have clarification as of yet, but I think Madeline might be on to something there. What would you think yourselves? What do you reckon, guys?
Yeah, I would say so. I think she's going to be right.
But there was a slight implication that it was something in advance of the QQI level 6, which then moves us up to university.
Right. So there you go. That's something else we have to keep a close watch on, and maybe that might be another email to FEC, get some clarification on that before. We don't want these things sort of sneaking in the back door, and then people are left, you know, sort of singing in the wind here. We have a qualification no longer recognised. I mean, that's a worst case scenario, but it is something that the association hopefully can find out more about, maybe get clarification on it, you know. The next meeting will be, this meeting rather will be, am I right here, Aidan? This meeting will be posted on YouTube. Yeah. Okay, so it will be. So following this, anybody who's missed out can catch up on YouTube. William O'Donovan has put up a little message here about where's the best group for insurance. We would hopefully think, again, I hope I'm speaking for Aidan here, is that there's a possibility that the association might be able to help with that going forward, is to be able to talk to some insurance companies and get some sort of a deal for association members. Am I right on that, Aidan? Just give us a thumbs up if I am. Yeah. So, William, if you're still listening in, that's going to be a work in progress. Right now, I don't know where in Ireland, I can't think of a company, maybe one of the other committee members can help you with the name of a good committee company that can provide insurance.
Just to come in on that, that is one of the areas that we hope to be able to help train. And it reiterates the point that this association is not set up to just deal with the issue of the cert increase. Yes, it is the main one. But we're going to help you with many issues such as this, such as the association. We hope to approach insurance companies and say, look, we've got 200 members here. What can you do for us? So very much one of the things that we can help people with.
Yeah, you're right. You're probably right. It's an association for members. You're right. There'll be other issues going forward that we'll have to address, and it would be nice as an association. And you're probably right. If you've got 200 members, it certainly gives you some bit of clout when you go to an insurance company to try and get them a decent price overall. At the moment, guys, are any got any recommendations? Who are you dealing with yourselves?
I can't remember the name. Of mine. I got it.
Safety Solutions.
That's it. Safety Solutions. I got mine through.
Yeah. Safety Solutions currently have.
I get mine from a company in the sorry of the time lapse. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it, Marion. I'm finished. Go on.
I get my insurance for the last number of years from a company called the Professional Insurance Agents, and they're based in the UK. And the underwriters are either Lloyds or Hitchcocks. They provide public liability and professional indemnity. And I found no problem to do it, and they've been very competitive.
Okay, that's good. What we probably could do is we probably could put up some information on the website, like that insurance companies that maybe you're directly dealing with yourself, or members out there, if they've got a good quote from different companies, put them up on the web page and let other association members see it. You know, we can help each other that way.
And also as well, PJ, another thing that the association, we discussed this before, that we could do for members would be maybe making kind of deals with supplier company for buying equipment and that, especially for newer instructors getting into the market. It can be quite costly and expensive. So look, if you're a part of the association, you get a discount. Well, the better. Something for down the line.
Exactly, yeah. Again, something. Yeah, exactly. Again, what I noticed in the association, again, strength in numbers is where you
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Guys, William just came back on there and he wants to know what would be the average cost for insurance for an instructor at the moment? Anyone any ideas?
Well, to a degree, they're going to ask what your turnover is, and that I sort of wound down a little bit, and I paid just under 300 for. Sorry, that was for 10 months cover because it's February to February. But just under 300 for professional indemnity and public liability.
Okay. Anybody better to beat that one up?
Approximately 300 to 400, but it's important to make sure that you have cover for both professional indemnity and public liability. There are insurance companies who quote you for one or other, and it seems like you're getting a great deal. So please make sure that you've got both professional indemnity and public liability. So you're talking somewhere between 300 and 400 euros.
Okay. There's another one there. Seamus Donnelly has mentioned Safety Solutions are running an insurance scheme for trainers in their network, and it's underwritten by Lloyds. So
yeah, that's the one.
See, you know, like Safety Solutions obviously got a good bunch of instructors there, so you can see again, you can get a deal, you get much better deals when you are working with a good body of people. There's just something I want to come back to that I didn't mind is Zara Mahan put this question to us, and it's about the cost. She's gone back to the cost of the certificates, and it's something that all members should be aware of, that when QQI issued a certificate for occupational first aid at level 5, it was for life and a day, and it would have cost the individuals, I think the average is about €30. But that certificate landed at your door, printed with the name of the student on it. And remember, it's for life and a day. So 2 years later, when that person had to do a refresher, the training company issued the refresher certificate. There wasn't another €30 to QQI. And if they got the name wrong in a certificate, QQI would break that free of charge. And this is something, in fact, I'm missing this message. If an RI nowadays, if it's just for argument's sake, it goes to €25, and the RI prints out a certificate, and human error, they might get a name spelled wrong. That certificate goes in the bin, and they now pull out another €25 piece of paper. So now it's €50 for one certificate. They could get caught in a printer. So you start to see the issues that the RIs may face, which is making the certificates very, very expensive. And then, of course, 2 years down the road, it's going to be a repeat of that cost because it has to be the FAR certificate again. These are the things that we're having difficulty getting that message across the FEC. Even on the email today, there's no recognition of that issue. They're talking about the QQI certificate, but they're not accepting the fact that QQI If FEC were to turn around and say, we will send the certificate out to you with the name of the student printed on it, and if we print it wrong, we'll replace it, they'd have a stronger argument. But they're not offering the same service as QQI, but they're trying to charge the same price with a continuous price. That's the big problem with this.
Not to mention there's no discount for CE schemes, people out of work, etc.
Yeah, that's it. And that's another one, the question that come up there actually. James came in with that. So hi, James. Sorry you couldn't make it tonight, but you're right. He has the unemployed and on-back work schemes. The QQI certs were free, and I don't know if they have a similar system in place to run that type of I suppose an offer or a program. So that's why we have to go in and sit down with them and hammer those points home. And that's, in my opinion, that's where
Sorry, I'm not an RI, but from an RI's perspective, I can only imagine that you have to buy a certain amount of, purchase a certain amount of certs from FEC at a time. I'm not sure the numbers, maybe somebody could tell me that is an RI, I'm not sure. But if they're, say for instance, they had to buy 100 certs, that before they were only €2 a cert, now it's €25 a cert. That's a lot of money going out, especially if they're a small RI, or I'm sure maybe the bigger businesses might be able to handle it, but it's still an awful lot of money to be carrying in stock. As you say, it's a very expensive piece of paper, €25. So that's another thing, like, I'm not sure, yeah, and I'm not an RI at all, but for RIs, that would be a big issue, I'd imagine.
Yeah, you're right, you're probably right. An RI pays €2 for a certificate. So we take somebody who's going to train, just for argument's sake, they buy 1,000 certificates. Well, that's costing that RI €2,000 at the moment. If the price goes up, we're talking about a leap from €2,000 to €25,000. That's crazy.
No, 50,000.
Absolutely crazy. I don't know of any other organisation where, I think James worked it out a 1,150% increase to the RI. So it's bonkers. So that's why we need to get that nailed down. We do really do. I think medical cards. Aidan was mentioning medical cards would have to be issued, or people with medical cards. I think we're also entitled to certificates. I think we got a free certificate. You have a medical card. Yeah, Louise Garrigan has actually confirmed that medical card holders were getting QQI certs for free. So thanks for that, Louise. Guys, I'm going to quickly go to some other messages coming in here. Anne-Marie Birmingham suggestion: if a logo was created, members could use it on the web page and LinkedIn to improve the visibility and profile of the association. That's a very good idea, Marie, and we'll work on that. That's going back to Aidan, another job for Aidan. He won't talk to us after this, but that's actually quite a good idea. Madeline McGrath Hanlon is asked the question: is there a way we can get FEC to give FAR instructor longer on their certs in 2 years, and that renewing the FAR should be sufficient and not have to renew your CFR instructor also? That's a cost of $400 every 2 years. Yeah, these again, Madeline, I don't know whether they'll extend out the life of the certificate, because we did have it at 5 years and then it was obviously knocked down to two because of the situation we're in. But the costs, you're right, something has to be done about the costs. If you're recertifying as an FAR instructor, there's no reason why people can't recertify at the CFRC level as well. And there should be, that's up to the RIs though. The RIs can play a part in that in trying to facilitate their instructors as well and try and do the two in one go. I think by the nature of the business, as it rotates around, when the 2 years are up type of thing, I think it's going to be, you might be, losing the swings, gaining the roundabouts by you're due to renew your CFR certificate, but your FAR is not due for maybe 3 or 4 months. Do the two anyway. With that one-off attempt, and then 2 years later, things will iron themselves out. But we could look at it. We could see. I would see no problem. I would like the FAR instructor certificate to be at least 3 years. And the students at 2 years. There's no reason for an FAR, especially an active FAR instructor, to not be recertifying every 3 years. Again, as a committee, what do you think? Because these things we could approach and address.
I think these are all good points, yeah, and I think these things are being brought up.
no reason why 3 years shouldn't be acceptable. I mean, I can understand if somebody is not teaching a required amount of courses every year, they're not getting the hands-on. Well, then recertification would be 2 years. But if you're teaching, 5 courses a week, it's a bit silly that you be brought back in every 2 years to have your skills tested again. These are all very valid points.
Yeah, well, I think PJ, at the end of the day, we're the association and we're the voice for the instructors. So whatever questions come in, they want to be posed to FEC. And if we ever do get advice and a seat at that table, well, we'll post whatever questions that the other first aid instructors want, because really that's why we're there. It's not really up to us to think whether we agree with it or not.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, because that's the plan: is bring all questions to the table where we can. But it's a valid point about the instructor in relation to what's going to happen with this auditing going on now as well. The audit is coming out, and some of the RIs are contacting their instructors about, after a year or so, there'll be somebody down to assess them again while they're out teaching. And that could be a way of, if they're going to implement that, then there's no reason why the instructor certificate couldn't be 3 years if they're being checked in between anyway. I'm paying for the luxury of it. So it's a good question from Madeline. So again, we're going to keep track of all these questions. We're going to put together a bank of questions that when we ever get this meeting, we're going to flag them all up. It won't just be about the search, it'll be about everything. So, okay guys, so how are we doing? Are we happy? Because we're coming up to about 9:10. If there's anything you want to say now at this stage, we can start to close down the meeting.
I'd just like to say thanks to PJ because you did get the ball rolling, and I know we all rode in behind you, but at the end of the day, you were the person who gave us all the G up, I suppose. Thanks.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, but I couldn't have done it without Aidan. He's there hiding away in the background, but without the IT that Aidan has provided, this would never have got off the ground at all. So a lot of gratitude to Aidan.
Oh, there he is.
You're back in, Mick.
This association is about youth trainers, so please remember that. Sign up, and we're there for you. So it's not just about cert issues. We're there to help you in absolutely any way that we can. So direct your questions towards the association, and we'll do whatever we can to help out for you, the trainer.
And spread the word to other instructors.
Spread the word, yeah.
Yeah. Well done, guys. Okay, so I think we'll officially close down then. So thank you very much, guys, for your time, for taking part. To all the instructors who tuned in, please tell as many of your friends and colleagues about the association and get them to join up. No more sitting on the fence now. You're going to get splinters in your rear end if you're going to keep doing that. The association is alive, it's kicking. Things are happening. You can see we're getting responses to a bit of progress that we've made in about 2.5 weeks. But we need you all on board, and at least now you've got a voice. It's your time to use it. And if you're not happy about something, you need to tell us. If there's an issue that we're not bringing up or something that you're concerned about, please tell us. We can't read your minds. And if you're not in, you can't win. It's as simple as that. So join up. So thanks so much, guys.
Cheers.
Good night, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thank you. Good night.
PJ.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay.
Good night. Good night.